Hello, everyone. I'm Emperor Stove, and I am going to rank every Yu-Gi-Oh! Field spell ever printed. Why? Because I'm the field spell guy. That's right, I will be reviewing all 324 field spells that have been released, as of this recording, and individually ranking them from number 1 all the way to number 324. What's the best field spell of all time? What's the worst field spell of all time? What is the 147th best field spell of all time? And why is it Ojama Country? By the end of this series, we will know the answers. We'll be going in chronological order by TCG release, and instead of a complicated set of criteria, one simple question will guide all the discussion. What can you do with this card? That's all for me, so let's begin ranking every field spell. All right, let's start. We're gonna begin. We've got 6 field spells that came out in LOB, and they are all basically the same card. Folks, we will be also reading every single card. Every card we get, we will be reading it. All right, so it's time for some reading. All right, we've got Forest, Mountain, Sogen, Umi, Wasteland, and Yami. We're gonna look at all these at the same time because they all basically do the same thing. So Forest, I think Wasteland sucks ass. It buffs all insect, beast, plant, and beast warriors by 200 attack and defense. Forest is a Magic the Gathering card. It is. You know it's not a Magic the Gathering card? Mountain. No one could say that Mountain is a Magic the Gathering card. They wouldn't make 2 field spells that are both Magic the Gathering cards that also are a type of card that is basically a synonym for field, right? That wouldn't happen. They wouldn't do that. Mountain Dragon boosts Dragon, Winged Beast, and Thunders by 200 attack and defense. We got Sogen, Warrior, just Warrior, and Beast Warriors. Oh, interesting. I didn't realize Beast Warriors had 2 different field spells that work with them, because it also works with Forest. Got Umi. All Fish, Sea Serpent, Thunder, and Aquas gain 200. Also, Machine and Pyros lose 200. Okay, then we have Wasteland, which is Dinosaurs, Zombies, and Rocks, gaining 200 attack and defense. And finally, we have Yami. Fiend and Spellcasters gain 200 attack and defense. Fairies lose 200 attack and defense. Okay, so these cards all basically do the same thing. They all buff something by 200 attack, some types of monsters by 200 attack and defense. A couple of them also debuff stuff. Yeah, fuck you, fairies. So, what can these cards do? Well, the answer is basically nothing except exactly maybe LOB format. Like, if you're in actual, like, literally just LOB format, they maybe are playable, and that should be where we should consider these. And so basically, we need to figure out which field spells are actually the most useful in that format. Everybody ran the same cards, right? I mean, kind of, but like it depends on which monsters you draw, right? So I think Mountain is the best one for actually doing battle in that format, because the best card you can normal summon is Skull Red Bird. I think Wasteland is next because Urabi is in the format. Mountain get extra points for the dueling thing. Yes, Mountain can also get extra points for being playable in dueling. Weirdly, like beasts and stuff, those aren't very good in that. So I think Yami is next, because there are some tribute spellcasters too. Then there's Forest, and I think Sogen is the worst one of those. However, Umi is named Umi, and therefore is way better than any of these other cards. Umi can do way more than any of the other ones, simply because it is called Umi. Does its effect actually matter? No, not at all. But you could play it in Umi control if you wanted to. Now, it would be way better to play ALO, but Umi, if you put it in the Umi deck, it would serve its function and make that deck work. Starting off, Umi, as of right now, is the best field spell ever printed. We're going Umi, Mountain, Wasteland, Yami, Forest, Sogen is where we're going. This is a bit convoluted because there's no time when there was an Umi deck where you would play Umi in, right? Correct. Like, you wouldn't play Umi, but again, I'm thinking about what could you do with it? And the answer for Umi is you could play it in the Umi deck. You shouldn't, but you could, and it would still work. All right, Chorus of Sanctuary. Increase the defense of all defense position monsters by 500 points. What can you do with this? This is maybe playable in a stall strat, very, very early. realistically, the other, like, the field spell, the buff field spells, like, do they do much of anything? Not really, no. Are there 2k defenders in LOB? There sure are. So I do think this is, like, this defense buff, like, making all of your dickhead 2k defenders 2500 defenders is probably more impressive than the 200 attack buff field spells, with the exception, again, of Umi. So I think we are going to put Course of Sanctuary ahead of everyone except for Umi. All right, and then we have the 500 attack guys. All right, we've got Gaia Power, Luminous Spark, Molten Destruction, Mystic Plasma Zone, Rising Air Current, Umiiruka. All right, so all of these cards, again, basically not, basically only good in beatdown strategies in exactly, like, fucking Spell Ruler format. That said, these are significantly better in than these fucking guys, because 500 attack is more than 200 attack. So again, we got to figure out which one is the most useful. And I think in that format, the best beatdown attribute, I think, is Earth. Then it's probably either Fire or Dark. But as Saz and Chimera Tech have noted, Luminous Spark is playable in Watt. So Luminous Spark is going to be the best one out of all of these. All right, anyway, we're putting Luminous Spark first, Gaia Power second. I think Fire is better at, like, beatdown than Dark, I want to say. Because, like, the Dark, like, there was a lot of Dark monsters, but also, like, like, every deck is playing Dark monsters mostly. Yeah, Dark doesn't need it. Like, Dark has, like, more stuff to, like, do, like, other than beatdown. Like, Dark isn't really playing beatdown. So I think I would go Earth, Fire, Dark. Wind and Water is tough. I want to say Water is a little better than Wind. Just because there's just not a whole lot of Wind. I feel like Wind is just, like, very poorly represented. Okay, so Luminous Spark is going above everything except Umi. Now the question is the other ones in relation to Chorus of Sanctuary. Is it better to have a buff, a beatdown buff, or a, like, stall buff? The, like, beatdown type decks were better than, like, the Chorus of Sanctuary stall stuff. Like, I think Earth and Fire beats it out. Yeah, you know what? I like that. I think the ones where you would actually be using them for a beatdown, like an actual dedicated beatdown deck, probably beat it, but the ones where you're not, it wouldn't. Again, though, we're not, like, comparing exactly, like, what would happen if these two decks played against each other. It's just like, how much does it do? But we'll do that. We'll do it like this for now. All right, here's the line. We're going with this. All right, moving on. Fusion Gate. Okay, so Fusion Gate. During the main phase, the turn player can fusion summon a fusion monster from their extra deck by banishing fusion materials mentioned on it from their hand or field. So Fusion Gate does a lot. It fusion summons. Yes, this card definitely has an effect. It fusion summons stuff. This card does do FTKs. Like the one that that comes to my mind is the fucking Electrum one. There's not, like, a lot of them, but there are some. And also, you could put this in decks, that fusion summon anyway, and it would do stuff. I think we do have to bump Umi down here. Because the thing about Umi is, even though, like, the Umi deck is very strong, Umi is really, all it is really doing is being a card named Umi. In that deck, it doesn't actually do anything. And I think I prioritize cards that do things over cards that enable other things to do things just by being there, if you know what I mean. Like, just like a Garnet. Not Garnet, but you know what I mean. Like, fucking Umi control, I think, is better than any, like, Fusion Gate thing that it would do. But Fusion Gate's actively doing stuff. All right, a Legendary Ocean. Now, this is just better Umi. This card is always treated as Umi. All water monsters on the field gain 200 attack and defense. Reduce the levels of all water monsters in both players' hands and on the field by 1. This one actually does stuff because it makes, like, the fact that Kairu Shin is normal summonable is massive. Now the question is ALO better than Fusion Gate? Fusion Gate does more, but ALO enables... Again, the Umi control deck is better than I think anything that Fusion Gate does. ALO is the first card that's plausibly playable in a competitive format. Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree. I think I would put ALO ahead. I'm going to put ALO ahead of Fusion Gate. All right, ALO is now Legendary Ocean is now the best field spell of all time. All right, next we have Array of Revealing Light. Declare one type of monster. Any monster of the declared type cannot declare an attack during the turn it is normal summoned, flip summoned, or special summoned. So this card sucks gigantic penis and balls. Is it worse than Sogen? Maybe. So, okay. So what it does is one particular type of monster gets summoning sickness. God, I am struggling to imagine what you would actually want to do with this card. Like, against a mono-type deck, it is like stumbling or Vengeful Bog Spirit. Yeah, like it doesn't even help you kill them. Again, this does apply to both players, so like if you happen to have a monster of the same type, it's like that also is affected. I think this is worse than Sogen. Like, I don't think that Vengeful Bog Spirit that only hits the opponent is the worst thing in the world, but if you're trying to play Vengeful Bog Spirit type effects, you're probably not in the business for attacking either way. That is probably correct. Yeah, it is also really hard to find a format where there would be a mono-type deck and also this card would do anything to it. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna put it below Sogen. We have a new worst field spell ever printed. Array of Revealing Light is now the worst card in history. So our next card is Necrovalley. All Gravekeeper's monsters on the field gain 500 attack and defense. Cards in the graveyard cannot be banished. Negate any card effect that would move a card in the graveyard to a different place. Negate any card effect that changes types or attributes in the graveyard. Yep, that is very easily number one. Not even close. Yeah, it's probably gonna be number one for a while. You could play this in a deck right now and it would be good. It would do something. It might win you, like this card might win you a game right now, almost by itself. That's pretty good. Pandemonium. Neither player has to pay life points during the standby phase for Archfiend monsters. When an Archfiend monster is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, except by battle, its owner can add an Archfiend monster from their deck to their hand with a lower level than the destroyed card. So the Archfiend cards, of course, not great, but like you could play them. It does do things in theory. Like they're like not having to pay life points is not bad, and replacing Archfiends that are destroyed by card effects is also something. You can use this with the new Archfiends. It doesn't do anything, but you can. Don't forget about Misera Deville. It also can summon Misera Deville, which does fucking rip 3 cards out of your opponent's hand, I suppose. It's not very good at doing any of the things it wants to do. That's the problem with it. The question is this better than just buffing monsters with attack points? And I feel like the answer might be no. Again, I guess if we're considering everything you could do, you could play this in new Archfiends and the float would come up. It's definitely better than Array. It's not the worst one. I think it's better than the 200 attack field spells too. However, I don't think it's better than the 5. I think it's between the 500 and the 200 ones. The thing about the Archfiends is a lot of them are big, and they do have protection sometimes. Keeping those guys up without having to pay life points is certainly not nothing. Can we put it over Rising Air Current? Yes, sure, I can do that. Just for you. All right, here it is. Pandemonium goes here. All right, next we have the Sanctuary in the Sky. Now this one is interesting. Battle damage to the controller of a fairy monster from a battle involving that monster becomes 0. So this one has come up. Yeah, so the agents do care about this card. Now the old agents, like, they got like slight buffs, I think, or something like that when you had Sanctuary in the Sky, but not enough. But like it did do that. But the new agents, and by new I mean they came out in like 2022 or something, or 21 or some shit. They need a Sanctuary in the Sky on field or in grave, I believe. So it actually does do significant stuff. So I think it definitely goes at least above Umi. I think it goes above Fusion Gate too. I don't know if it goes above ALO, because Sank isn't really doing anything actively for you. ALO does actually do something. Sanctuary is just a garnet that you throw into the graveyard, but it does make a lot of things work. But like, I don't know, new agents do a lot of shit. It's tough to compare like Agents to Umi Control because they're so different. Umi's just a Floodgate deck and Agents is a Wombo combo deck. I think Umi Control was stronger though, or at least had more success. I think Umi would probably do better just because it is a Floodgate deck. I think I'm gonna put it still just below ALO. I'm gonna put it between ALO and Fusion Gate. You have to make a moral stance if combo or Floodgate is better. I mean, we're going to eventually. We're definitely going to have to get there eventually when we get to that field spell. All right, Harpies Hunting Ground is the next one. Harpies Hunting Ground. All winged beast monsters on the field gain 200 attack and defense. If any Harpy Lady or Harpy Lady Sisters is normal or special summon, the player who conducted the summon targets a spell or trap on the field. That player destroys that target. Yeah, this card's like fine. It does stuff. It pops back row. And of course, in early Harpies, it was good for going after your opponent's back row. In newer Harpies, it pops your own cards that trigger them. Triggering fucking Hysteric Sign is quite good. Also, 1 million years Harpies and Duel Links. Oh yes, this card was good in Duel Links. That is important. That does matter. I don't know if I would play, like, if I would put Harpies over Umi Control. But this is a much more active... This is, of those 3 cards, this is the most active, like, facilitator, for sure. Making Kairishin summonable is important, but that's basically the only thing it does. And Sank does literally nothing for Agents. This one is actively making plays. Now, I think the plays it is making are less good, but not like that much less good. Yeah, you know what? I didn't think I'd put Hunting Ground this high, but I think I might put it over ALO, yeah. We might go to number 2 here. I think I do value the fact that it is actually actively doing stuff instead of just being a name. Yeah, it also, yeah, in older formats, it is also still like playable. Yeah, we're gonna put Hunting Ground up there at number 2. All right, next up, we have Centrifugal Field. When a fusion monster is destroyed by card effect and sent to the graveyard, its owner targets a fusion material monster in their graveyard listed on that fusion monster. That player special summons that target. Fuck is a Centrifugal Field? I don't know. The fusion monster gets popped, you can revive a material on it. It's only if it's destroyed by card effect. So this really would only matter in a more modern game where the card you're actually summoning like might do something. Whereas, like, in older formats, if you played this card, the card you're summoning is a vanilla. And again, it's only if it's destroyed by card effect. It's insurance that sucks penis. Yeah, it is. That is what it is. That's what it is. It is very situational. It requires you to, like, have a fusion monster. It doesn't actually... And this is another card that doesn't actively do anything. It just is there to help you if something happens. And even then, the thing it is doing is not even that impressive. Now, I don't know. What if you put it in branded and then if they pop your Mirror Jade, you get to summon Albaz? Think about that. I can imagine myself happier about playing Array. I think I would put this above Array. Is this better than 200 attack points? I want to say, like, no, actually. I don't think it is. Again, it does have to be specifically a card that is listed on it, though, too. So it has to be something that has a name, right? Okay, I think I'm coming around on it being better than the 200 attack monsters, or the 200 attack field spells. As in, it could do something more impressive than attacking for like 200 more. All right, I am gonna put it above the 200 attack field spells, but that's the only thing I'm putting it above. All right, let's move on. Skyscraper. If an elemental hero monster attacks a monster that has a higher attack, the attacking monster gains 1,000 attack during damage calc only. Okay, so 1,000 attack is a lot. The question is a 1,000 attack buff when the guy is attacking something bigger better than like a 500 attack boost at all times? Because it does not help you defend at all. It just kind of helps you out things. It doesn't create something that your opponent is needs to out. But I guess what it does do is it makes all of your opponent's monsters vulnerable to being attacked by stuff. And Skyscraper also, like, you were talking about elemental heroes specifically, and heroes do have lots of ways that if they are, they have ways to recover from losing guys. Yeah, I think I agree that it is better than the 500 attack guys. Is it better than Umi? It's definitely not better than Fusion Gate. I really don't think it is. I think it is still, like, playing Umi in Umi control is, like, stronger than anything you'd be able to do with Skyscraper. If Skyscraper is so good, where is Skyscraper 2? I don't know. I don't think there's ever going to be a Skyscraper 2, frankly. All right, Canyon. If a rock-type monster in defense position is attacked, double any battle damage to the controller of the attacking monster. This has got to be the worst one, right? This is already better than Chorus. See, I disagree, because the thing about Canyon is it tells you exactly what you are... it tells your opponent exactly what you are doing. All it does is prevent your rock-type monsters from being attacked, basically. Yes, you can force them to do it if you have Yang Zing Unleashed or Final Attack Orders or Taunt or something. You can metaverse it after attack declaration. That is true. You can do that. It doesn't... Well, hold up. It doesn't even buff the guy. It just means you take more damage. Like, what it really is going to do if you play it is it's just gonna stop your opponent from attacking you. And I don't know, maybe that's like enough, but like the thing about it is if you're playing this in a deck, it's gonna be a deck that wants to be attacked. There's no way rock type monsters in defense position are going to just like do anything by just being there. The thing about Chorus of Sanctuary is you're playing that in a stall deck. This you're not really playing in a stall deck. Again, this does not buff your monster. It just increases the damage that happens if it is attacked. Chorus of Sanctuary buffs your monster. I think I'm taking Chorus of Sanctuary above this one. I guess it maybe is still better than Array, because Array says your opponent can't attack you with specific types of monsters on their turn they're summoned. And Canyon does kind of say your opponent can't attack anything, but also, like, what if their monster's bigger than yours? Then it literally doesn't do anything. I will put it above Array, but I am not even confident about that. Clock Tower Prison. Once per turn during your opponent's standby phase, place a clock counter on this card. While there are 4 or more clock counters on this card, you do not take battle damage. If this card with 4 or more clock counters is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, special summon 1 Destiny Hero Dreadmaster from your hand or deck. So this is a stall card. And it's got to be a better stall card than Chorus of Sanctuary, right? It's not immediately live. That is correct. It is not immediately live, but all you need to do is... And again, you're probably playing a stall deck anyway. I'd put it above the 500s. I would too. I don't know if I'd put it above Luminous Spark, because again, Watts. I think putting Luminous Spark in Watts is better than putting Clock Tower Prison in a stall deck. And that's kind of like the peak of what you could do with it. But I think I'm okay with having it be above all of these. All right. Next one, we've got Dark City. If a Destiny Hero monster attacks a monster with a higher attack, the attacking monster gains 1,000 attack during damage calculation only. It's just Skyscraper. D-Heroes are worse than E-Heroes, right? Yes. So Destiny Heroes' problem is none of them have attack points. I guess the more recent ones do, but like putting Destiny, like this card in a Destiny Hero deck is not nearly as impactful as putting Skyscraper in an Elemental Hero deck. And also, the most of the Destiny heroes that are actually good want to go to the graveyard, like Disc Commander and like Fearmonger and shit like that. So this is definitely worse than Skyscraper for sure. It's probably worse than all of the guys that are like cards that are trying to boost. I think it's better than Pandemonium. Now the benefit is your monster is always going to have smaller attack than the card it's attacking. I'm going to put it above Centrifugal Field, and that's where we're going to put it. I actually have decided it's worse than Pandemonium. All right, Mausoleum of the Emperor. Okay, during the main phase, the turn player can activate these effects. Pay 1,000 life points immediately after this effect resolves. Normal summon 1 monster from your hand that requires 1 tribute without tributing. Pay 2,000 life points immediately after this effect resolves. Normal summon a monster from your hand that requires 2 tributes without tributing. This is your normal your 1 normal summoner set for that turn. This card does in fact do shit. If you're looking for like a fucking floodgate card, I mean, it lets you summon a bunch of floodgate guys for free. Almost certainly better than Skyscraper. I'm considering it might be better than Umi, actually. Because again, this is doing something actively. And like the floodgate monsters you could summon now, honestly, you could play this right now in like just like normal summoning Vanity's Ruler and shit. That might be better than just like Umi control. Especially given that the Umi control, if you're playing the original Umi, is going to be hampered by the fact that it's harder to summon Kairyu-Shin. I think it's better than Umi and Fusion Gate, actually. And again, this card had, like, playability before this, too. I'm going to put Mausoleum here. All right, Neospace. Elemental Hero Neos and all fusion monsters that mention it as fusion material gain 500 attack. Fusion monsters that mention Elemental Hero Neos as fusion material do not have to activate their effects during the end phase that shuffle them into the extra deck. Terrible. Absolutely awful card. Neospace is fucking penis butt ass. It's only Neos and its fusions. Is it worse than Array? I don't think it's... God, it might be worse than Array. Does something, though? I mean, does it, though? It boosts... Okay, it does prevent your Neos fusions from shooting themselves in the head. It does undeniably do that. The problem is, the deck you're putting this in is probably gonna... It's gonna be hard for that deck to even take advantage of this card. The modern Neos fusions don't do this. Don't even have those extra deck shuffle effects. Yeah, and all the ones that do, they leave the field, but they do something, like, devastating. It is hard to even take advantage of this card. Because, like, you have to get a Neos monster or a Neos fusion on the field. Now, it is a little easier to do that, but all you're doing with it is boosting it by 500. You know what? You've convinced me. Neo Space, congratulations on being the new worst field spell of all time. Jurassic World. All dinosaurs on the field gain 300 attack and defense. All right, let's find Wasteland. We will put it one above Wasteland, and that is where it will be. I guess it should go above all the 200 attack guys, right? Because 300 is bigger than 200. It's an enabler for a board wipe. I want it under Mountain. You know what? You're right. Mountain has done other things. You're right. You're actually correct. In the same way that Umi has done more things. Volcanic Eruption. Okay. It does enable Volcanic Eruption. That is correct. That is true. I don't know. Is that enough to bump it above Mountain? Because it's not going higher than that. No, we should put it under Wasteland. I don't think we could do that. I guess well, you know what? I guess Wasteland works on other types than just dinosaurs. You know what? Okay. I think the fact that it enables the trap is enough to trade the fact that it only boosts one type. Shien's Castle of Mist. When a 6 SAM monster is attacked, the attacking monster loses 500 attack during damage calc. If we're talking in pure numbers, obviously this is worse than like the other stuff, like the stuff that does like 1,000 or something. I kind of feel like it does more though, because 6 SAMs are so dependent on being able to stick a guy so that they can get a second guy on field. I feel like this does more for 6 Samurai specifically than like the other attack defense, but like some of the other attack defense boosters do for their own thing. Like this is definitely better than Neo Space for sure. I think it is better than the other 500 attack guys. I don't think it's better than anything else though. Again, this is basically, we're talking about where is it, where could we play it, and what could we do with it? And the answer is we could play it in like original 6 SAMs, and it would do something for them. Making it harder for them to attack over your 6 SAMs is important because it allows you to then normal summon a second 6 SAM, and then your cards do stuff. I think I am putting it under Clock Tower Prism. Skyscraper 2 Hero City. Once per turn during your main phase, if you control this card, you can target an elemental hero monster in your graveyard that was destroyed by battle and sent there, special summon that target. This card does for sure do stuff. This card does some shit. Just reviving an E-hero every turn is quite good. There was a deck that played this card. I believe it was legal while Stratos was legal. Okay, but it definitely goes above regular Skyscraper. I don't know. Do I want to put it above or below Umi? No, I changed my mind. I think it's just below Umi. I don't know. I think it's still better than, it's still not as good as a brick that enables a better deck. All right, Ancient City Rainbow Ruins. This card has so many effects. You must have this many Crystal Beast cards in your spell and trap zone to activate and to resolve these effects. 1 or more. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects. 2 or more. Once per turn, you can have the battle damage you take. 3 or more. When a spell or trap card is activated, you can send a Crystal Beast monster you control to the graveyard. Negate the activation if you destroy it. 4 or more. Once per turn, during your main phase, you can draw 1 card. 5. Once per turn during your main phase, you can target a Crystal Beast in your spell and trap zone, special summon that target. This is a negate. It is a negate. And of course, Crystal Beasts do have a lot more modern support that is pretty good, to be honest. And it's not difficult to get CBs in your back row. That is correct. This card, you obviously don't play this in modern Crystal Beast, but like if you did, it would do stuff. Okay, it definitely goes above Fusion Gate. Does it go above Mausoleum? I don't think so. I think I like that spot for it. Like, you could easily make it a spell trap. It wouldn't always be a spell trap gate. Like, just because you can get to, like, enough Crystal Beasts to make it do stuff doesn't mean it will. and it really doesn't do shit until you get at least 3. And a lot of the Modern Crystal Beast cards are about like trying to get stuff out of the spell trap zones too. Like they need the spell, they need to use the guys in the spell trap zone. But I still think I like this. Otherworld, the A zone. If your opponent's monster battles an alien monster you control, the opponent's monster loses 300 attack and defense during damage calculation only. It's not even 300 for like each A counter. It's just 300. I think this might be the worst one. I think it's worse than Neospace. 300 debuff when an alien battles something. I mean, Neospace is 500 at least. Neospace has way better cards that it works with than Otherworld does. I think congratulations to Otherworld the A Zone for being the newest worst field spell in history. Venom Swamp. During each player's end phase, place 1 Venom counter on each face-up monster except Venom monsters. Monsters lose 500 attack for each Venom counter on them. Destroy a monster if its attack becomes 0 by this effect. So, like, you could play this in Venoms, but Venoms are atrocious and don't do anything. What you would actually do with this card is play it in a stall deck where, like, you just have a guy with a 0 attack monster accruing Venom counters and just, like, and it works. Like, this is a stall card that, like, does like beat your opponent's guys. Like, it does it very, very slowly, but it does do that. It does also enable stuff like Venom Burn, and it's each end phase, so, like, monsters are getting smaller, like, all the time. It's definitely better at being a stall card than Chorus of Sanctuary. Is it better than Clock Tower Prison? So the thing about Venom Swamp is it's less good as a stall card, but it does also enable other things, but I guess not that many other things. I think it goes just below Shien's Castle. Colosseum, Cage of the Gladiator Beasts. Place a counter on this card each time a monster is special summoned from either player's deck. All Gladiator Beast monsters gain 100 attack and defense for each of these counters on this card. If this card would be destroyed by a card effect, you can discard another Colosseum Cage of the Gladiator Beast to prevent this card from being destroyed. So every time a monster is special summoned from deck, which is, of course, any time a Glad Beast tags out, it gives them a 100 attack and defense boost. It does give you utility for drawing it in multiples. That is correct. The problem is the boost is, like, not good. Now, the boost is more important for Glad Beast than it would be for other things, just because, like, being able to win battle is kind of their whole thing. But it feels like it takes so long for this to be significant that I don't know how much it's actually going to do for them. It doesn't actually help you do things. It just makes you stronger if you are doing things. It's a tough one. It does count if your opponent special summons a monster from deck. That is true. If you put it in a deck in a spot where your opponent is going to be special summoning from the deck a lot, it's probably because it's more modern, and in that case, it does nothing. Like, it's not like the boost is not going to help you. And if you're doing it in older Yu-Gi-Oh, it's probably not going to trigger very often unless they have, like, recruiters. Yeah, like, the 200 attack boosters, you just get that. This one, you have to work for it. Like, it protects itself, but, like, that doesn't really help. It does, like, accrue, like, you know, once you've done it more. But, like, yeah, how many times are you actually going to trigger a Glad Beast effect before you actually just win the game? Glad Beast might honestly prefer Sogen or Forest. Oh, yeah, you're right. Maybe you're right. I think Forest is the one that would apply the most because it's Beasts and Beast Warriors. Okay, you know what? I like it. We're putting it. It's going above Canyon, but it's not going any further than that. Acidic Downpour. All Earth monsters lose 500 attack and gain 400 defense. Is this worse than Otherworld the A? I feel like it actually might be. It debuffs Earth monsters specifically. I guess you could use it to increase your monster's defense, but then it would be worse than just Chorus of Sanctuary. And again, it only works against Earth monsters if you're using it as a debuff. In which case, like, I mean, at least aliens, it works for everything. It works anything that battles it. I didn't think we would be removing it from its throne so quickly, but I think it actually might be worse. Light Bear. Oh, this one's gonna be fucking weird to talk about, huh? Once per turn during your standby phase, toss a coin. If the results are tails, the following effects are negated until your next standby phase. When you summon an Arcana Force monster, choose which effect to apply without tossing a coin. If your Arcana Force monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you gain life points equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. This card was butt-ass terrible shit penis butt for like 15 years, but like now it's good. This card is good. It's very searchable. It's very important in the deck that plays it. It FTKs you. Is this the new number 2? I think it might be the new number 2. Like, no, it's got to do more than Harpies Hunting Ground, right? As fucking stupid as that is. It sounds fucking stupid, but I think it's the new number 2. I hate this card. Oh, yes, obviously. All right, Realm of Light. Each time a card is sent from your deck to the graveyard, place 1 Shine counter on this card. All Lightsworn monsters gain 100 attack for each Shine counter on this card. If this card will be destroyed by a card effect, remove 2 Shine counters from this card instead. So this is kind of similar to Colosseum, but it's like a little easier to trigger. Unfortunately, it is each time and not for each card. If it was for each card, this would be significantly better. So this is just during every end phase, like, it will trigger. Now, it doesn't actually, like, do anything for the deck other than make your guys a little bigger. However, it does so more efficiently than Colosseum does. And the attack boost is, like, it can matter. I think I would put it above Centrifugal Field, but below Dark City. All right, Wetlands. All Aqua-type water level 2 or lower monsters gain 1200 attack. It's so many. That's so many attack. Big for good. Okay, so obviously 1200 attack is a lot. That's a very large number. And the cards that this works with are a lot better than a lot of the cards that the other ones do. Like, frogs are good cards. It's not very good, even in the era where, like, you could do this, but it certainly wasn't competitively good, but, like, you could play it and it would do stuff. How do we feel about this versus, like, Skyscraper? I feel like that's kind of where we're at, right? Maybe better than Skyscraper? I mean, it's more attack, for sure. Yeah, I agree with that. Now, is it better than Skyscraper 2? Now, this is a very different thing, because Skyscraper 2 is getting you, like, a bunch of advantage, whereas Wetlands is just giving you attack points. It's making a lot of attack points, but not just attack. No, okay. Put it right between the 2 Skyscrapers. I can't believe Wetlands did 9/11, because it's right between the 2 Skyscrapers. Geartown. Both players can normal summon ancient gear monsters for 1 less tribute. When this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 ancient gear monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Good card. That card's pretty good. I think we're comparing it to Light Barrier. I think it's definitely better than Hunting Ground. Like, Geartown's got to be better in Ancient Gear than Light Barriers and Arcana Force, right? Like, Arcana Force, like, is a deck that theoretically does a lot and also FTKs you in theory, but, like, in practice, it doesn't. And Geartown is important for doing that. Yeah, it summons Dark Golem, which will kill you. Yeah, I think it's better than Light Barrier. Zombie World. All monsters on the field and in the graveyard become zombies. Neither player can tribute summon monsters except zombies. So again, we're way up here for sure. This is also a good floodgate. I think Zombie World is not as good as Necrovalley, but it is very good. It's tough. Like, they do very different things, but they're both very good floodgates. And the thing is, they hit different decks a lot of the time too. I think Necrovalley is more consistently a floodgate that actively wins you the game than Zombie World is, but not. It's very close. I think I would put Zombie World at 2. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put Zombie World here. Black Garden. Wow, we've had a run of fucking criminals here. Oh, and it's only going to continue. Black Garden. If a monster is normal or special summon face up except by the effect of Black Garden, have its attack, then the controller of that monster special summons 1 Rose token. Plant Dark, level 2, attack 800, defense 800 to their opponent's field in attack position. Stack loss remains even if this card leaves the field. You can target 1 monster in your graveyard with attack equal to the total attack of all plant monsters on the field. Destroy this card and as many plant monsters on the field as possible. Then, if you destroyed all of them, special summon that targeted monster. Okay, Black Garden is a fucking weird card. Early on, it enabled, like, Chain Beat, basically, and that's kind of relevant. Like, it was relevant as in, like, an attack floodgate, and then later on, it became a card that does fuckload of FTKs. Now, I think it is important to note that none of the FTKs were good, but it does a lot of fucking FTKs, let me tell you. I would say below Light Barrier. That is actually exactly what I was thinking, is right between Light Barrier and Hunting Ground. I guess Harpies were fringe relevant around like 2012, 2013 or so. but not really super relevant. And I think that just the sheer number of Black Garden FTKs, even if none of them were competitively viable, I think that just does it. And also, it had Chain Beat. It was also Chain Beat. Yeah, I like that. I like this spot here. We're gonna go with Black Garden right here under Light Barrier. Oh boy. Secret Village of the Spellcasters. If only you control a spellcaster monster, your opponent cannot activate spell cards. If you control no spellcasters, you cannot activate spell cards. Blocking your opponent out of spell cards is quite good. It's quite good. Now, how does it compare with our other floodgates? So in theory, like sometimes you can get around Secret Village. Like sometimes you don't necessarily need a spell card to get into stuff. And I feel like that, like, or at least you can out the Secret Village without needing a spell card. Also, I think an important secondary part about this is that there is another way to beat Secret Village other than outing the Secret Village or playing through it, which is to remove the spellcaster monster from their field. If you manage to do that, there is also a downside to this card. If they remove your spellcaster monster, you can get fucked by this. I mean, it is similar in like it is a card that is meant to shut your opponent down, and when at its best, it immediately wins the game. But that is also true of Necrovalley and Zombie World. But Secret Village has more of a less than ideal case going for it. So I think it will go here. I really hope the top of this list is not just Floodgate field spells. But I mean, there are, we haven't really gotten to the really good combo enabling field spells yet, for the most part. So, all right, we're taking a break from War Criminals. Here's Morphtronic Map. Each time a monster's battle position is changed, place one morph counter on this card. All Morphtronic monsters gain 300 attack for each morph counter on this card. When this card is destroyed and sent from the field to the graveyard, you can special summon one Morphtronic monster from your graveyard. This card's neat. Okay, so getting 300 attack for every, like, this is similar to Realm of Light and Colosseum, except, like, as in it gets a counter every time deck does thing that it does. But this one gives it 300 attack instead of 100. So it's gotta at least be better than those cards. And Morphtronics do want to change battle positions a lot. I will say they're not as good at doing it as maybe Lightsworns are at milling, but... And it also does, like, float. Like, unlike those other cards, which, like, protect themselves in underwhelming ways, this card does float. So the fact that it, like, ramps up the attack value at least puts it definitely above those cards. Again, it is any monster. It's not just the ones you control. I think I would put it above Shien's Castle and below Clock. Well, no, maybe... No, I think it's still below Clock Tower. The attack boost does take a little while to get, like, really good. I think I like it here. Magical Citadel of Endymion. Each time a spell card is activated, place one spell counter on this card when that spell resolves. If a card with a spell counter is destroyed, place its spell counters on this card. Once per turn, if you would activate a card or effect by removing a spell counter from a card you control, you can remove that many spell counters from this card instead. If this card would be destroyed, you can remove one spell counter from this card again. All right, fucking Magical Citadel. Okay, it gets you a spell counter and it holds lots of spell counters. Now, it just gets a spell counter when it's activated, and the only way to get more spell counters is when a monster is destroyed with a spell counter. Yeah, the fact that it is a card that holds spell counters is also very important, because there are plenty of cards that can place more spell counters on this card, and being able to just be extra spell counters is still pretty nice. Also, it protects itself. I don't know if it's like the important thing. Like it's important to play it in Endymion, but like you could and it would do stuff. Endymion Pendulum is a deck that does a lot of things. I feel like it's gotta be ahead of like Hunting Ground, right? But I don't know. It really doesn't do things by itself. It just kind of makes your other cards like work a little faster. And it kind of hedges against stuff. It kind of doesn't really actively do stuff, other than, I guess, hold exactly one spell counter. But I guess, to be fair, that is more than the Sanctuary in the Sky does. Maybe between, like, ALO and Sanctuary? Okay, I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna put it in between ALO and Sanctuary. Ojama Country. Once per turn, you can send one Ojama card from your hand to the graveyard. Special summon one Ojama monster from your graveyard. While you control an Ojama monster, switch the original attack and defense of all monsters on the field. I mean, just being able to revive Ojamas would sounds pretty good until you remember what Ojamas are and what they do. It does allow you to summon back like the fusions. And then later on, it allows you to summon back blue, which is important. So like the fact that it can bring back blue is at least something. It certainly does more than a lot of these other field spells, but the things that it does aren't as good. It also does trigger Oja Magic. Like, if you put this effect on any other field spell, it'd be so much better than it is in this deck. It is an active playmaker, though. Also, you can pitch Duo as well. Like, pitching Duo is good. Just give it the biggest attack boost. I guess that is true. It does give a big attack boost. Ojama Country is a plus 1,000 at minimum if you think about it. Yes, but that plus 1,000 is way less impactful than like a plus 500 might be on another monster, right? Because it's going from 0 to 1,000. Like, not all 1,000, not every 1,000 attack points are created equal. I think I'm going to put it here. Ancient Forest is the next one. When you activate this card, change any defense position monsters to face-up attack position. Flip effects are not activated this time. If a monster attacks, destroy it at the end of that turn's battle phase. This is, I guess, a stall card, but it's not even a very good one because you still get to, like, they still get to attack your shit. It's just that their guys die. Two-sided. Yeah, that's true. It also kills your guys. So, like, you really are only playing this in a like defensive stall deck, and it's not very good at it's not even that good at being that. Also, if it's, you know, if your opponent's monster does have like a graveyard effect, triggers those. It definitely has its pros, but it's very strange to evaluate. I feel like it definitely does more than like the attack boosters, or at least the small attack boosters. I think it's better than Chorus of Sanctuary, but probably not. It's definitely not as good as like Clock Tower Prison, and probably not as good as Venom Swamp either. So it's probably in here somewhere. I think I'm putting it up just below Venom Swamp. Brain Research Lab. Once per turn, you can normal summon one Psychic type monster in addition to your normal summoner set. If successful, place a Psychic counter on this card. You can also place one Psychic counter on this card instead of paying life points to activate any Psychic type monster's effect that you control. When this card is removed from the field, the controller of this card takes 1,000 damage for each Psychic counter on it. So this is a card that works with A, Mind Master, and B, like Reprodokus Cyberstein shit. It works with this card. Telekinetic Charging Cell is generally easier, just because the kind of combos that would try to get to that are like easier to just use this soul to go through them. But this also works for sure. This does feel like it goes in like a Black Garden, like at least is being we're evaluating it in a similar way that Black Garden does. I don't think it's as good as Black Garden. Depends on the engine you use, but either works. It's got aura and it's ass busted. It does have aura. That is true. It does have aura. People still doing Black Garden stuff. This seems more contemporary. I mean, people aren't doing Brain Research Lab stuff either. Really, the only card people would use Brain Research Lab with in modern Yu-Gi-Oh would be Cyberstein, and they can't do that anymore. Like, it really only kind of works with, yeah, Gale Dogger, I guess, yeah. I like it below Black Garden. Okay, I think I'm going to put it just below Black Garden and above Hunting Ground. I think I like that as a spot for it. Future Visions. Each time a monster is normal summoned, target that monster, banish it. During the next standby phase of the player who controlled that monster, return it to the field in face-up attack position. Another floodgate, but not nearly as good as the other ones we've looked at. Like, it definitely, okay, this floodgate effect for sure comes up. It just doesn't come up that often. In the time period where it was played, where it came out, I guess, it was certainly better. Setting your opponent back a turn, it's tough because you have to be able to like capitalize on it without normal summoning yourself, unless you're playing Fortune Ladies, in which case you're playing Fortune Ladies. So, you know, don't do that. I wouldn't do that, frankly. I think it's better than these just like generic attack guys. Is that Sam Scarlon from the YouTube channel Hit Series? That is true. It is Future Vision at youtube.com/Scarlon. Is it better than Clock Tower Prison? Is it better than Skyscraper? The question is, how damaging is it to the opponent? And it very much depends. Like, sometimes it would be impactful. Other times it would not be all that impactful. Comes up more often than you'd think, but less often than you'd hope. Yeah, that seems like about right? I think I'm putting it above Skyscraper and below Wetlands. That's where I like it. All right, where are we at? Pseudo Space. Once per turn, you can banish a field spell from your graveyard until the end phase. This card's name becomes that card's original name and replace this effect with that card's original effect. This card has come up occasionally in some stuff. This could be any field. That's true. This is any field spell. Now the problem is most good field spells, they are cards that do something on activation or they are floodgates, and this doesn't do is not very good at being either of those things. But it does do some things. The decks I've seen this played in are like the chicken game deck, the chicken game like FTK. Being able to copy chicken game and draw a card is good. I've seen people play this in ABC to use as additional equips. And Gate Guardian. Gate Guardian is the other deck that this card is good in. It's an effect that comes up, but only in very specific decks, and frankly, even in those decks, it's not like a game winner or anything. It's just like an additional piece that is good. But Pseudo Space on its own does not do anything. It requires other field spells. And it also, like, it requires very, very specific field spells. It doesn't work with that many. I want to say somewhere around here is where I feel like I like it. Between Moz and Ancient City? I think that sounds fine. It gets real hard. It's starting to get real hard. All right, Clear World. Once per turn during your end phase, pay 500 or destroy this card. Each player receives effects depending on the monster attributes they control. Light, play their hand revealed at all times. Dark, if you control 2 or more monsters, you cannot declare an attack. Earth, during your standby phase, destroy a face-up defense position monster you control. Water, during your end phase, discard a card. Fire, during your end phase, take 1,000 damage. Wind, you must pay 500 life points to activate a spell card. So I don't know anything about the Clear World deck. But I'm pretty sure they need Clear World to function, right? And it's just like another field. It's not just another floodgate. We all agree this is worse than Otherworld. Unfortunately, Sib, it would be, except they made a bunch of support for this card. So now, like, by itself it is, but unfortunately, this is a deck. Read the support stuff. I did. One of them says Skill Drain, and that's much better than Otherworld, the A-Zone. It feels like it goes in like the ALO tier, right? Like, as in a card that doesn't really do anything other than facilitate a Floodgate deck, except I think the Floodgate deck it facilitates is worse. I think it would go under Sanctuary, right? Because it's kind of the same kind of card. It's probably worse than Maus, too, because Mausoleum probably makes a better Floodgate deck than this card does. I think I'm gonna put it between Moz and Pseudo Space just because of the fucking Clear World deck. We're gonna have plenty of cards to put above Clear World. I promise it's not gonna be number 13. Savage Colosseum. If a monster attacks at the end of the damage step, its controller gains 300 life points. All monsters must attack if able. During each end phase, destroy all face-up attack position monsters the turn player controls that did not declare an attack. This card is only played in Sub-Replay Friday. So all it really does is make stuff attack. Force things to attack and make it so you can't summon things in main phase 2 and attack position. Now, how good is forcing things to attack? Well, what would you play this in? You know what? I bet this is a better card for the rock deck than Canyon is. Mikanko? Yeah, I suppose. Is this worse than the 200 attack field spell? No, it can make things happen. I still think it's better. Yeah, I think it's better. I think I would take it above probably Centrifugal Field, probably over Realm of Light. It does serve a purpose in a particular deck. So it's probably above the 500 attack guys too. I mean, it does only apply to monsters that are in attack position though. Like, it's not like it forces things into attack position. You can just put stuff in defense. And there are also ways around whatever it is trying to force you into. I think I'm going to put it above Shien's Castle of Mist. I like this. Spider Web. If a monster declares an attack and is changed to defense position at the end of the damage step, it cannot change its battle position until the end phase of the controller's next turn while this card remains on the field. Okay, this is just strictly worse Ancient Forest, right? Ancient Forest kills the monster, and this just changes it to defense. In a spider deck, it has synergy. It does have synergy with, like, spiders, I suppose. I feel like it's like that's worse than just like the attack boost. This card is just really bad, I feel like. Also set your own monsters if you want that. That is fair. I guess that is true. But I really think its utility is very limited. I'm putting it above Dark City. I think I would rather have 500 attack points. Iron Core Specimen Lab. During each of your end phases, destroy this card unless you reveal one Iron Core Quackimera in your hand. Each time a Quackimera monster on the field is destroyed during the end phase, its owner can add one Quackimera monster from their deck to their hand. Wow, this is awful. So okay, it does search if your Kawakimeru dies. It allows you, I guess, during the end. You could also just like let it die and then search a different one if you have this on your field. But it requires you to have Iron Core. This is like a Neo Space level of card that exists to like. I guess it doesn't even fucking stop them from dying. It just mitigates it. Now this feels like Pandemonium. Like it's similar to Pandemonium, which is not what you want. That's not where you want to be. And also it kills itself if you don't have Iron Core. Is this worse than the 200 attack field spells, chat? Because I think it's worse than everything else. Yeah. Okay. All right, we got to compare it to here. God, it really just feels like a card that kind of does almost nothing and also shoots itself. I think we're comparing it to Neo Space, and I think it might be worse than Neo Space. Okay, it's not as bad. No, that's not true. I don't think that's true. It does replace a monster that dies. Like it does do that. It lets you search, which I think is more than like fucking Canyon does. I'm gonna put it under Centrifugal Field. That's where I'm gonna put it. Saber Vault. Each face-up X-Saber monster on the field gains 100 attack times its level and loses 100 defense times its level. This is just unbelievably bad. Now, I think we do have to give it higher than the 200 attack field spells, right? Because almost every X-Saber will get more than 200 attack points. But they do lose defense. Why do they lose defense? This is better than the Luminous Spark stuff? I mean, maybe. I don't know if it is. Like, I guess it's only better if you have, it's better if you have monsters that are level 5 or higher. For those guys, it's better. And I suppose X-Saber is a synchro deck, and they have Fall Troll. But it does only work on X-Saber monsters, so if you try to, like, synchro them into something that's not an X-Saber, it doesn't do anything to those. I still have trouble putting it above like a 500 attack field spell. I actually have trouble doing that. Yeah, I'm putting it below the field spells that give attack points. I'm putting it below Rising Air Current. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna put it here. It's real fucking bad, but I guess it does boost attack. Amazoness Village. All Amazoness monsters gain 200 attack once per turn. When an Amazoness monster is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one Amazoness monster from your deck with a level less than or equal to that Amazoness monster in the graveyard. This does things. It sure does. This combos with stuff. It does get you, it summons an Amazoness from deck. It is a when card, so it can miss timing in some situations, but like there are ways to trigger this card. Modern Amazoness can trigger this to bounce it and bounce it to use it again. Can they? I didn't actually know that. Yeah, that's cool. This is a combo piece for Amazoness then. So we're gonna be closer to the top here. Now Amazoness is not a good deck. It's probably worse than the Clear World deck, to be honest. But Amazoness Village is a card that does a lot more than Clear World does. So I do give points more to cards that are actively doing stuff. Is it better than Mausoleum of the Emperor? Oh, I don't know. It might not be. I think I like it between Mausoleum and Clear World, actually. It is a good combo piece, but like it's a good combo piece for a deck that kind of doesn't do anything other than attack you. So I'm going to put it right here. Naturia Forest. If you negate the activation of a card your opponent controls, you can add a 1 level 3 or lower Naturia monster from your deck to your hand. Oh boy, that's not very good. Specifically an activation negate. So you have to trigger like you have to use like a Sunflower or a Vein or something. Naturia Beast. Or like draw like a counter trap or something. And it only searches them too. Like it's not even like it summons it, it just adds it to your hand. And also this is almost always gonna happen on your opponent's turn. Now to be fair, you can like summon it immediately with Blessing after drawing it. And it's, yeah, the fact that it's level 3 or lower is rough because that means it can't get the good card, Camellia. Now, it could get you Mole Cricket. It is weird, though, because it is, again, this is a card that only works if you're already doing stuff, and it gets you more stuff, and it's very slow. It's a card that does things, but not very many things, and not exactly what you want. I think I'm going to put it here. All right, next we have Karakuri Showdown Castle. When a face-up Karakuri monster you control selects an opponent's monster, face-up monster as an attack target, You can change the target's battle position. When this face-up card on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can select one level 4 or higher Karakuri monster in your graveyard and special summon. This is a card that is, like, fine. Being able to change battle position when your Karakuri's attack is okay, and of course, the floating effect is alright. Being able to switch battle position allows you to more reliably trigger, like, Queek. So it doesn't really, like, synergize. It's just kind of like a thing that allows you to maybe attack better. Now, I guess one important thing is because all Karakuris have to attack, it prevents you from being forced to crash your monsters. I think this is a bit of a better battle trick. It's actually kind of similar to Map in that way, but I feel like it's a little worse than Map. I think it's a little worse than Map, but it works with better cards, which is one of the weird things that it's kind of hard to do, because, like, Karakuris are much better than Morphtronics. But it allows you to win battles. You know, I guess it's less conditional than Map. Okay, I'm going to put it above Map. I think I actually want it above. Clock Tower's Duel Links points, I suppose, but Duel Links points, I think, are marginal. Watt Castle! Any monster that attacks a Watt monster loses 1,000 attack after damage calculation. Is this worse than Acidic Downpour? I think it actually might be. After damage calc, yes. At the very least, Acidic Downpour does make it harder for your monster to die. This one literally does nothing when your opponent attacks. It just does something afterward. Now, 1,000 is more than 500. It is any monster. God, and it's only after it attacks, too. Is this worse than Acidic Downpour? I don't know. Maybe not. But it's definitely more insulting. And I'm honestly willing to put it below that for that reason, because I think it's very close. I think it's close enough that I am fine with putting it worse than Acidic Downpour. I do think it maybe is slightly better. I just went on that tirade, but I think if I gotta be true, to my actual beliefs. The point of this list is to actually rank them. I do think it is better than Acidic Downpour. It's worse. I'm taking Otherworld the A zone over Watt Castle though, for sure. Closed Forest. All beast type monsters you control gain 100 attack for each monster in your graveyard. Field spells cannot be activated. Field spells cannot be activated during the turn this card is destroyed. So the beast thing is, like, all right, but the fact that it locks you out of field spells is kind of is by far the most interesting in my opinion. How relevant is that? Now, the thing about it is that's a lot more relevant the closer we get to the modern day, right? Like, if we're talking about 2010, like, honestly, probably Clock Tower Prison's better. Like, locking you out of attacking after 4 turns is probably better than locking you out of field spells. But if we get to now, like, locking you out of field spells can be quite good. And, like, I think stopping, like, stronger decks is probably more relevant to me. So I think I like it better as a floodgate than, like, Clock Tower Prison for sure. How about Future Visions? Okay, the thing about Future Visions, it doesn't let you stick a normal summon. You still get to activate, or you still get to normal summon. And you still get to trigger any effects that happen on normal summon. If it has quick effects, you could use them immediately. Field spells, you just can't, not saying you cannot use field spells at all, but it is such a very specific floodgate. Ugh, I don't know. Maybe I slide it here under Future Visions. Because every deck wants to normal summon a monster. Not every deck needs to field spell. All right, I'm gonna put it there. Divine Wind of Mist Valley. Once per turn, if a wind monster you control returns to the hand, except during the damage step, you can special summon one level 4 or lower wind monster from your deck. So, I am familiar with this card. That I know that this card does FTKs. I don't exactly know how. Like, it is an extender, and it's, I mean, getting an extension from deck is pretty good. But I mean, yeah, it special summons a level 4 lower wind monster from your deck. No restrictions on what you can do with it. It's a soft once per turn. I mean, that is some strong utility. Now, it is limited by what level 4 or lower wind monster you can do with it. You can use it with, but it still does stuff for sure. This plus Harpy Dancer is full Radiant Typhoon combo. That is true. I guess that is true. Maybe like above Hunting Ground. Above Hunting Ground and below Research Lab. Because it feels like a lot of the cards this card's combos with are not, like, legal anymore. But I assume that there was some reason why it got limited originally. Temple of the Six. Each time a 6 samurai monster is normal or special summon, place 1 Bushido counter on this card. Monsters your opponent controls lose 100 attack for each Bushido counter on this card. A person who doesn't know better might look at this and think it is basically the same as Temple of the Six. The problem is there is one very, very important thing that distinguishes the two, and that is that this card holds Bushido counters. That second part of the text might as well not exist. The point of this card's existence is to hold Bushido counters for Gateway of the Six, and it does that. It absolutely does do that. So I think just the fact that it holds Bushido counters puts it like above, it puts it pretty high on the list, even though it doesn't really do much. But holding Bushido counters is very, very big for 6 Samurai. And in fact, I think it probably puts it above Blackguard and Brain Research Lab just because the loops that it enables are much more doable and I think stronger. So far, we have learned that existing can be a very powerful effect. That's true. Now, is it better than Light Barrier? Is it better than Geartown? Probably not, because it's not actually actively doing anything, but it is very good at existing. Although, again, Blackguard and Brain Research Lab are doing things. 6 Sam is better at doing the stuff that it's doing than Arcana Force is. Light Barrier is doing more for its deck. I'm going to put it between Light Barrier and Blackguard. The Nordic Lights. Nordic monsters on the field cannot be destroyed by battle. If this card on the field is destroyed, destroy all Nordic monsters on the field. Just fantastic. Just an incredible card. So it does turn Nordics into Marshmallow. But the interesting thing about that is that a couple of them don't want to be Marshmallow. Worse than Acidic Downpour. God, it might be, because at least Acidic Downpour doesn't fucking... There's no way that Acidic Downpour will kill your own board. The Nordic Lights might. The goats want to die, yes. White goat wants to die, and black goat wants something else to die. Again, I guess the question again, what can you do with this card? And I think the answer is make your deck worse. I am being pilled on worse than Acidic Downpour somehow. But like, I don't know, like the protection, the battle protection feels like it should count for something. Are the big Nordics even worried about being run over in battle? I've got great news, Cabbage. The big monsters are not Nordics. They're Iceers. So this does not even protect them. It only protects the small guys. Yeah, but the cards don't want protection from that. It's the fucked up thing. You know what? I have been convinced. Congratulations to the Nordic Lights for now being the new worst card in history. Malefic World. While this card is face up on the field, you can activate this effect instead of conducting a normal draw during your draw phase. Choose 3 Malefic cards from your deck and have your opponent pick one of them at random to add to your hand, shuffle the rest back into your deck. So this card is awful. It's just fucking terrible. It's like arguably worst card trader. Unfortunately, there are cards in the new Malefic support that require you to have Malefic World. I'm really mad about how high we have to put this. Me too. Territory places it from deck and protects it. They got turn 0 E-Tele that places this. The new trap that was announced. Oh, okay. You don't have it yet. Okay. Wait, wait, there's no way. So you can turn, like, on your opponent's first turn, you can place Malefic World so that it's on your field when you draw for turn. Is that really... Please tell me that's not real. Okay, I won't tell you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so Malefic World does jack fucking shit on its own. I guess that's not actually 100% true. It being a field spell protects your monsters. However, that is true of every single card on this list. So actually, that doesn't come up. That actually doesn't matter. But yeah, we have to put it up a little bit higher because having it in your deck allows you to resolve Malefic territory. But like, we don't have to put it that high, do we? During your draw phase, you can search a Malefic card effectively if you're playing 3 of it and you didn't draw one of them. Is that better than like Naturia Forest? Probably. Is it better than Clock Tower Prison? Is it better than Karakuri Showdown Castle? I'm gonna put it between Clock Tower Prison and Karakuri Showdown Castle. Again, it's very annoying that it's even that high, but Dragon Ravine. Wake up, chat. I think it's time to wake up. We have an actual, like, combo enabler. Dragon Ravine. Once per turn, you can discard a card, activate one of these effects, add one level 4 or lower Dragoonity monster from your deck to your hand, send one dragon monster from your deck to the graveyard. This card was good in Dragon Rulers, and then it was good in Dragon Link. It is searchable off of Romulus, and it does shit. It has done some shit many a time, and that shit has mostly been send one dragon monster from your deck to the graveyard. But boy howdy, is it very good at sending one dragon monster from your deck to the graveyard. Of course, you've even seen this played in Ancient Fairy Dragon decks with Destrudo. Is this better than the Floodgates? Ravine does a lot. It is again, it's just a piece. It's a really good piece though. Being able to go through Romulus to get it is really good too. This is way more searchable than any of these field spells too. Yeah, this is a moral stand. Yeah, this is where we finally reached the part where I have to decide Floodgates or combo starters. God, Ravine has done so much in so many different formats in many different versions of dragons. Necrovalley is a potential game winner. Now, it doesn't always win the game, for sure. It doesn't always win the game. In reality, when Necrovalley doesn't win the game, it probably isn't doing anything. Whereas Ravine is always doing some shit. And it's always doing very impactful shit. I am going to do it. I'm going to decide that Ravine, at the very least, is good enough. You sit down and YCS, first player opponent plays Necrovalley or Ravine. Which case are you in more trouble? I mean, it really does depend on what I'm doing. Like, if Necrovalley is a card that I can't beat, then it's that. If it's a card I can beat, then Ravine does it. I think it really kind of does come down to maybe, like, how often is Necrovalley winning you the game? And I really don't know the answer to that question. God, this is so hard. I suppose if we're saying if Ravine resolves, they should win. And that is fair. But I don't know. Like, I don't know if that's 100% true. Because, like, there might be other stuff that you can stop that beats that. But I don't know. I'm going to leave Ravine there for right now. And we may revisit this. This is something we may revisit this. But it's really, I think it is a very interesting conversation to have. I don't know if I'm smart enough to have it, but I think it's a very interesting conversation to have. Wow, it is real funny to have Ravine and then immediately the two fucking Mechlord field spell. Fortissimo, the Mobile Fortress. Once per turn, you can special summon one Mechlord army monster from your hand. You've seen cards that are... Oh, I mean, yes, it's not the worst one, for sure. Better than all the attack boosters. I don't even know if it is, to be honest. Quite frankly, I don't know if it is. It does put a guy... It's just double summon. I mean, I guess double summon is a fine card. Mechlord... Oh, is Obligato an army? It is... Okay. But, like, the thing about that is just, like, it's not really any different than playing double summon, right? So we're just debating how good double summon is. Like, okay, it probably is better than the attack boosters. I don't think it's better than anything else, really. Probably better than, like, Ancient Forest and Venom Swamp. I think I have it here between Savage Colosseum and Naturia Forest. Because Savage Colosseum is maybe part of a win condition. All right. Mechlord Fortress. Not only are there two field spells, they're both fortresses. Neither player can target Mechlord Emperor monsters you control with synchro monster effects. When this card on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can add a Mechlord Emperor monster from your deck to your hand. So it protects Mechlord Emperors specifically from synchros, and then it floats into a Mechlord Emperor. And, of course, it misses timing. Now, this does combo with Obligato, doesn't it? Yeah, Mechlord does blow up its cards, so it is actually all right. This is an okay combo piece. It's probably better than these cards. Probably better than Ojama Country. I don't know if it's better than Fusion Gate. It's certainly no Geartown. I'm gonna put it in between Ojama Country and Fusion. The Gates of Dark World. Okay, time to wake up again. All Fiend monsters gain 300 attack and defense. Once per turn, you can banish one Fiend monster from your graveyard. Discard one Fiend monster, then draw one card. Good card! Card's good. It's going up pretty high. It is a good card. It's searchable by Genta. It can be recycled. It's a soft once per turn. It triggers all your guys. It even gives you attack boosts, which is very funny. Yeah, this is another card I think that does... We do have to have the discussion of, is it better than the Floodgates? It is such a good enabler for stuff. It's crazy. I think it's real good. I don't think it's better than Ravine. God, it's a soft once per turn, and there's so many ways to get to it. And it triggers everything. The thing is that Dark World is not as good as the cards that Dragon Ravine. Now, it did have its day in the sun where Dark World was good and was the best deck, but Ravine has been better more often. All right, I think I'm willing to say Gates is better. It's Xyz Territory. When an Xyz monster battles another monster, that Xyz monster gains 200 attack and defense times its own rank during damage calculation only. If this face-up card on the field would be destroyed by a card effect, you can detach an Xyz material from a monster you control instead. Another fucking attack booster. Okay, well, at least... So this is a bigger attack boost than the fucking, like, 500 attackers, but it's only for Xyz monsters. Another thing that it's important to say, though, is that, like, just, like... It's not just about the raw number of how many attack and defense points it's gaining, it's how relevant is that? Because putting, like, you could argue to me, and I would, like, Skyscraper boosting a hero monster is more impactful than this card boosting an Xyz monster, even if, like, the Xyz monster gets more attack. Like, if you're boosting, like, a rank 7, like, and you're getting 1400... Yeah, Xyz monsters are already bigger. Like, they don't need, like, the important thing is, like boosting a small guy and allowing it to attack over something is more impactful than boosting a bigger guy higher and doing a little more damage. So I could even see this being worse than, like, Skyscraper. It's gotta be worse than, like, Luminous Spark, maybe even Map. It is harder to benefit from it because getting an Xyz monster out is harder than just getting, like, a Morphtronic monster out. Yeah, unless you're using it to kill someone, which this is not going to do. This is not going to kill somebody. I think this card is not very good at all. I might regret this, because it is a bigger attack boost than both these cards, but I don't know. It just feels less impactful. Shrine of Mist Valley. Once per turn, when a wind monster is destroyed by a card effect and sent to your graveyard, you can special summon one level 3 or lower wind monster from your hand or deck. Its effects are negated. So this is way worse than the other Mist Valley field spell. It negates the effects, and it's only if a monster is destroyed, which is way harder to do than bouncing a wind monster, since a lot of wind monsters do that shit. Now, it does summon a guy from the deck. It just doesn't do it very often. Like, this feels like it's comparable to Naturia Forest. I think it is maybe better than Naturia Forest, and probably better than, like, Fortissimo. But, like, I think it's better than Fortissimo and not as good as Savage Colosseum. You know what? I'm actually changed my mind. I'm going to put it up a little bit higher here because I think it is still, even if the effects are negated and stuff, like, you can still use graveyard effects and stuff. I'm going to put it up a little bit higher. All right, on we go. Chaos Zone. Each time a monster is banished, place one chaos counter on this card for each of those monsters. Once per turn, you can remove 4 or more chaos counters from your field, then target one banished monster with a level equal to the number removed, special summon that target. When this card on the field is sent to the graveyard by your opponent's card effect, you can add one light or dark monster from your deck to your hand whose level is less than or equal to the number of chaos counters that were on this card. This card's very weird, but there are, like, combos and shit you can do with this. So, like, obviously it's meant to be like a chaos deck thing, and then, you know, you can get back stuff if you are banishing stuff from grave a lot. I can combo with, like, stuff like D-Fissure too, D-Fissure macro stuff. I don't know how realistic it is to actually do any of that, but it also floats, which is interesting. I mean, this certainly does things. It's a little bit... It is one of those cards, again, that requires you to already be doing stuff in order to do anything at all. Annoyingly, it is each time a monster is banished, so banishing multiple monsters at once doesn't place more counters. It has to be 4 chaos counters, so it really does kind of feel like it's mostly best with, like, a D-Fissure type card. It's kind of a slow card, effectively. I want to say it's better than, like, Shrine of Mist Valley, but it's not. I want to say it's better than Skyscraper, but I'm not even 100% sure if it is. Feels like I'm struggling to figure out what the use case is. It feels like there is one, but I don't know what it is. I'm gonna say that it is between Malefic World and Shrine of Mist Valley. Advanced Dark. All Crystal Beast monsters on the field and in the graveyard become dark. If an ultimate crystal monster attacks, negate the effects of the attack target during that battle phase. During damage calc, if a crystal monster you control battles and you would take damage, you can send one Crystal Beast monster from your from your deck to the graveyard. You take no battle damage from that battle. This card's like really bad. It does also have the added benefit of keeping your evil Crystal Beasts alive, but also why would you want to do that? Those cards are all bad. Sending a Crystal Beast from deck to grave is all right, just because it gets more crystals in grave, but like, again, that's if a monster is battling. It's like slow as shit. The advanced Crystal Beasts have better effects, but not that much better. And of course, they all shoot themselves if you don't have Advanced Dark on the field. But also, the advanced Crystal Beasts only work with other advanced Crystal Beasts too. This card just kind of doesn't do anything. This utility is so marginal that it just feels like it feels really bad. Yeah, it's some shit like Naturia Forest has better utility than this card. It has utility, but it's I think the worst utility of any card we've seen so far. It might be worse than Pandemonium actually. Rising Air Current, Saber Vault, Spiderweb. I'm putting it between Realm of Light and Centrifugal Field. All right, Catapult Zone. Once per turn, if a monster you control would be destroyed by battle, you can send one rock-type monster from your deck to the graveyard instead. This card is all right. It does do stuff. Being able to dump Revival Golem or Tackle Crusader is okay. It also can send Block Dragon in theory. Like, you know, Rock Stun, this was good. Also, yeah, like protecting your rock monsters, which again, is not a lot, but it is better than a lot of these other cards that were never playable in anything. I would put it ahead of probably like Block Tower, probably ahead of, maybe ahead of Showdown Castle, maybe Skyscraper, probably. Yeah, like it does have utility. Feels like better than like Wetlands, better than Skyscraper too. Like being able to like dump cards that either revive themselves and also like protect your like rock stun guys. Yeah, I think that's a little better than that. Okay, I think we're gonna put it here. Catapult Zone. Madolche Chateau. We gotta wake up again. When this card is activated, shuffle all Madolche monsters in the graveyard into the deck. All Madolche monsters on the field gain 500 attack and defense. If a monster in your graveyard would be returned to the deck by the effect of a Madolche monster, you can add it to your hand instead. Chateau, very good card. That's a very, very good card. Just even the activating effect shuffling stuff is great. It triggers Shucklet mode, which is nice. That's the graveyard, the returning to the deck, adding back to hand instead is crazy. Because you can like Glass Souffle can target your hand traps, and then this can add them back to hand, which is crazy. Yeah, this card is quite good in the Madolche deck, and Madolche is a deck that has been very good several times. I'm looking at it around like Geartown Light Barrier area. I want to say it might be better than both of them, but I'm not sure. I think it's better than Geartown and Light Barrier. I don't know that it's better than the 3 Floodgates. I think I am gonna put it ahead of Geartown. Yeah, I mean, you could have the discussion of, is this like a better card than like a Floodgate? I'm wondering if I could go Chateau ahead of Secret Village. Just because Secret Village is... I think Secret Village is not quite the same as those other two. It is a more powerful Floodgate, but it's easier to turn off. And it also doesn't do anything by itself, unlike the other two. Like, the other two are Floodgates by themselves, where Secret Village isn't. I don't know if Madolche Chateau is the card to do it, though. I think I'll leave it where it's at. The Seal of Orichalcos. Folks, who's ready to wager their souls? All monsters you control gain 500 attack. Once per turn, this card cannot be destroyed by card effects. While you control 2 or more face-up attack position monsters, your opponent cannot target your monster with the lowest attack or an attack. If this card is activated, destroy all special summon monsters you control. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. You can only activate the Seal of Orichalcos once per duel. So the 500 attack boost is obviously makes it better than all the other field spells that you give 500 attack. It's all of them. Card sucks ass, man. Yeah. So this card is like playable in stun effectively. It's like a stun card, and it's not even that good at being a stun card. It just kind of, it gives you guys an attack boost, and it protects itself, and it protects your small monsters. Locking you out of the extra deck is obviously not great, and destroying all your special summons. So I mean, I think we got to start at like right where the attack boosters are. Although, I don't know, maybe it isn't, like, necessarily better than those, because it does lock you out of the extra deck. I think I like it between Naturia Forest and Shien's Castle of Mist. Or maybe a little better than Naturia Forest. I'm gonna put it ahead of Naturia Forest. We're gonna put it right here. Lemuria, the Forgotten City. Folks, it's Umi again. Umi's back. All water monsters gain 200 attack and defense once per turn during your main phase. You can have all water monsters you currently control gain levels equal to the number of water monsters you currently control until the end of this turn. This is a very odd card. It's a very weird card, but it's definitely better than regular Umi. And once again, it is Umi. It is Umi. It's unquestionably Umi, which does boost its playability significantly. So it gives water decks like access to higher like rank Xyz monsters effectively. It's certainly not no utility, but it's not a lot of it. There are so many field spells with worse effects than is named Umi. Correct. I don't think it's actually better than any other non-Umi. I think I would take Ojama Country over this card. I think it goes directly above Umi because it is almost the same card. All right, the Grand Spellbook Tower. Once per turn during your standby phase, if you have a Spellcaster type monster on your side of the field or in your graveyard, you can place one Spellbook spell card from your graveyard onto the bottom of the deck, except the Grand Spellbook Tower, then draw one card. When this card in your possession is destroyed by your opponent's card and sent to your graveyard, you can special summon one Spellcaster type monster from your hand or deck, whose level is less than or equal to the number of Spellbook spell cards in your graveyard. This card is like fine. It's an alright card. It's a decent card. Important to note that being a spellbook spell card is important just by itself. Searchable, very searchable. It bumps your it's a spell card for like, or spellbook spell card for like spellbook of Fate, for spellbook of Judgment, for spellbook Starhall, and being able to like basically just get a free card every turn. Is all right, especially in a deck like Spellbooks, which is a deck that wants to play more turns than just one. And it floats. This card is pretty all right. I think it's better than Umi. Now, the problem is Spellbook is a deck that hasn't done much since 2013, so I'm not even sure it's better than Rainbow Ruins, given that Rainbow Ruins at least works with the new Crystal Beast. It might be better than that, though. I think I still have it below Rainbow Ruins and probably below Fusion Gate, too. I think I'm going to put it above Mekler Fortress, though. I like Grand Spellbook Tower here. It's a decent card for a 2013 deck, which is something, but, you know, not a lot. Summon Breaker. During main phase 1, if the turn player successfully conducts their third summon of a monster this turn, it becomes the end phase. It's a floodgate, but it's not nearly as good of a floodgate as others. Anyway, main phase 2, yes. So you can, of course, circumvent this by going to main phase 2. Yeah, you can, summon 2 monsters in main phase 1, go to battle phase, go main phase 2, do other shit. Also, sometimes you don't need to summon 3 monsters. If you're playing, like, a trap deck, if you're playing lab, that's fine, I don't care. Also, that's a mandatory effect that triggers instead of being something that just happens. So, like, if the third summon, let's say I summon 2 monsters and I link them off for Nightmare Phoenix, guess what? I mean, I'm not gonna say this card has no value, it absolutely does. But it's definitely a better floodgate than Future Visions, I would say, probably. Like, maybe the fact that they can just go to main 2 means it doesn't matter at all. Maybe it is worse than Future Visions for that reason. Like, this, yeah, mostly this card just says skip your battle phase. And it doesn't even do that necessarily, because you can still summon guys. Like, you can still summon 2 guys if you can get 2 guys that do something in battle phase. Yeah, I think this might be worse than Future Visions in Closed Forest. I'm gonna put it under Closed Forest. Would you summon 2 guys? You know what? I'll be brave. I would summon 2 guys. Archfiend Palabyrinth. All Fiend type monsters you control gain 500 attack. You can target 1 Archfiend monster you control, banish 1 other Fiend type monster you control, and if you do, special summon from your hand, deck, or graveyard 1 Archfiend monster with the same level as the targeted monster. You can only use this effect of Archfiend Palabyrinth once per turn. You can summon an Archfiend from deck that has the same level as something else, but you have to have another Fiend type monster to banish already on the field. It says applications in Infernity. Very funny. It's kind of very limited in its exact scope of what it can do, but it definitely does stuff. The problem is there's like a setup that you need Like, you need to already have an Archfiend and another Fiend type monster on the field to do stuff. Now, maybe the fact that it was usable in Infernity is enough to push it above stuff. Like it should be above Skyscraper, too, for that reason, right? And Catapult Zone. Probably Umi. Probably Ojama Country. But it's still so much more restricted than a lot of other stuff. Okay, I think I'm going to put it around... I want to put it around, like, the Umis, probably. But I think I'm going to put it above Ojama Country here. Maybe it goes above Mechlord Fortress, too. Yeah, let's put it above Mechlord Fortress. But I think it's below Spellbook Tower. Sargasso the DD Battlefield. Each time a monster is Xyz summoned, the summoning player takes 500 damage. During each player's end phase, the turn player takes 500 damage if they control a face-up Xyz monster. Is this the new worst one? How do we feel about this card versus the Nordic Lights? Because I think that's the territory we're in. It really does not help you win the game. Oh, it burns the opponent, but only if they Xyz summon. And then it burns for... And it's only 500! The Nordic Lights makes your deck... It does. That is true. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Is it worse? Okay, now we gotta say, is it worse than Acidic Downpour? And I think the answer is yes, right? It's worse than Acidic Downpour. Both of those cards are, like, they only do something if your opponent does a specific, or has a specific card. Acidic Downpour at least lets you maybe attack over their guy. This guy just burns for 500. All right, Vampire Kingdom. Zombie monsters gain 500 attack during damage calc ocean only. Once per turn, when a card is sent from your opponent's deck to the graveyard, target a card on the field. Send one dark vampire monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, and if you do, destroy that target. It's a really weird one. It is very strange. Partially because the vampire cards have changed what they are supposed to do over the course of Yu-Gi-Oh! It does trigger off of Zombie Vampire, notably. The old vampires that like bleed, like have the bleed effect or whatever, this triggers those, or that triggers those, trigger this card too, but those cards are bad. And the 500 attack boost is like whatever. Like it is a 500 attack boost. It is important to note it is a 500 attack boost. I mean, it is a pop, and also a card that dumps your own vampires, which is good. It is certainly feasible to trigger this effect to get a pop. I wouldn't say it's trivial in the deck to do that, but it is very much possible. But I think at the very least, it goes above some of these cards, like Skyscraper, Chaos Zone, maybe Wetlands. Like, that's a good effect. And it's just kind of dependent on how often you can trigger it. Is it better than Umi? Is it better than the effect of having the name Umi? I think I'm gonna put it just above the Umis. That's where I'm gonna put it. Below Ojama Country. It might be above. No. I'm putting it above Ojama Country too. I do like this card. Ghost Trick Mansion. Monsters cannot attack face-down defense position monsters, but can attack directly if all monsters their opponent controls are face-down defense position. All effect damage and battle damage inflicted by monsters other than Ghost Trick monsters is halved. So this really, all it does is it protects your Ghost Trick from being attacked, and it also protects you from dying, kind of, by having their damage, but that's kind of it. We also have Ghost Trick Museum, which has the same first effect, and at the end of the damage step, change any monster that inflict battle damage to a player during this battle to face-down defense. I mean, Mansion is alright. Like, not dying is important, but it doesn't actually accomplish anything. Museum flipping their stuff face down kind of does, because it allows you to attack them directly. It also works with some other cards that face down defense. Museum is definitely better, I think. Now, again, it is important that it protects your face down monsters from getting attacked. I think that is still important. So I think it still gets credit for doing that. We're gonna put Mansion here. And then Museum actually does do stuff. Flipping stuff face down is definitely better. It's still not great. This territory, closed forest, summon breaker, future visions, wetlands type area. I think I give it credit for like the flipping face down is very annoying. but it only does that if they attack. Like, again, it's not like you're doing it like proactively. You're just making them do it if they attack, which I guess is not that great, actually. Kind of similar to Summon Breaker in that regard, in that it is like, it's more just like a deterrent to something rather than actually something that accomplishes something. But, you know, I think I'm going to put it here, just ahead of Skyscraper. We are in 2014. Mount Sylvania. You can send one plant-type monster from your hand or face-up from your side of the field to the graveyard. Choose one Sylvan card from your deck and place it on top of your deck. Once per turn during your opponent's end phase, you can excavate the top card of your deck, and if it is a plant-type monster, send it to the graveyard. Once otherwise, place it on either the top or bottom of your deck. This was played in Sylvan, right? Absolutely, it was. This card is pretty good in that deck. Being able to just stack a Sylvan to mill off the top with your other guys is pretty good. It does require you to go, you know, minus to do that, but like, you know, you're gonna get something off of the Sylvan that you're stacking, so it works out well. And, you know, end phase, your opponent's end phase, being able to do this and just like, you know, maybe you hit something. You can either like stack it and make sure of it, or like sometimes you just hit stuff. And the Sylvan deck was playing mostly monsters. Yeah, this is an actual playmaker. Now, it is not, sorry, it's a piece for sure. It is another card that, again, doesn't do anything quite by itself, although I guess it could do something by itself during the opponent's end phase. You do need to have another Sylvan that actually does the excavate effect, but that's like most of the cards in your deck. So yeah, this card is quite good in that deck. So Mount Sylvania is for sure going up, definitely above Spellbook Tower for sure. Probably ahead of Fusion Gate. Now, of course, it's Sylvan. Sylvan is a very short-lived time at the top, but it was at the top. I'd probably take this over Rainbow Ruins. Maybe Pseudo Space, just because Sylvania does, I think, more for its own deck than like Pseudo Space does for those other decks. All right, I like this spot for Sylvania. Xyz Override. If an Xyz monster on the field would activate its effect by detaching its own materials, its controller could banish a card from their hand face down instead of detaching one of those materials. Each player can only use this effect once per turn. This card is just fucking terrible. I don't know why you would do this, unless your Xyz monster is out of materials, I guess. But how often does that actually matter? Instead of using this field and a card in hand, just use 2 cards for an Xyz monster. Yeah, could just summon another Xyz monster. Yeah, you Arise Heart, banish a card from your hand, and then trigger Shangri-Ira. Don't think about the fact that you'll be triggering Shangri-Ira anyway. Is it worse than Yami? It might be. Like, Yami doesn't make you go minus. Does not rip cards out of your hand. Oh, Jesus. Is this worse than Array of Revealing Light? Maybe. Oh, I'm truly trying to figure out what the use case is this. This has, and I don't know what it is. Like, you get an additional use of, like, a card that you've apparently already used twice. I guess if you, like, revive an Xyz monster that has no materials, you can use its effect by banishing from hand. I want to say it's between Neospace and Otherworld the Azo. I'm going to put it there. Chronomaly City Babylon. Once per turn, you can banish a Chronomaly monster from your graveyard, then target a Chronomaly monster in your graveyard with the same level as the banished monster, special summon it. Okay. Sure, it revives a Chronomaly. It does require you to have 2 engraved, but like with the same level. But around Ojama Country, I think this is not as good as Ojama Country, because the fact that Ojama Country discards a card, I think, is important. And the Chronomaly monsters aren't very good. It's bad Reborn, but it does get a monster on the field. I think reading every field spell has lowered my standards. At least this doesn't make you banish a card face down. It definitely doesn't. That is correct. Is this better? This might be worse, like, just under Skyscraper 2. Like, Skyscraper 2 also summons a monster from grave. Now, it does have to be a monster that was destroyed by battle. But also, hero monsters are much better than Chronomaly monsters. I think I'm going to put it... I think it's one worse than Wetlands. I was going to put it right above Wetlands, but sure. We'll put it one worse than Wetlands. We'll put it right under Wetlands. Mound of the Bound Creator. Level 10 or higher monsters on the field cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. If a level 10 or higher monster destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, the player who controlled the destroyed monster takes 1,000 damage. When this card on the field is destroyed by card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can add one divine monster from your deck to your hand. This card's honestly decent in comparison to a lot. Yeah, it's not that bad. Like, it gives like very relevant protection and also searches sphere mode. It is just protection. Like, it's not like a playmaker or a play starter or anything, but it is a card that gives pretty solid protection. The fact that you can get a sphere mode is also like already like good. Catapult Zone, Umi. I think it's somewhere around here. I think I'm gonna put it between Umi and Catapult Zone. I think Mound of the Bound is it's all right. It's an all right card for sure. Ghost Trick Parade, the final Ghost Trick field spell. This is the one that says your opponent takes no damage, and when your opponent declares a direct attack, you can search a Ghost Trick card. So this one is the best one of the three, because it actually does something. It does say you can't do damage to them, but like that's not that bad. It is a searcher, but like only if your opponent plays into it. Can't be above Summon Breaker. You might be right. It might just go one spot above Museum, but this card is better at stopping your opponent from attacking you than Summon Breaker is. I gotta tell you, this is insane, man. This is the part of the stream where of the thing where it's gonna look fucking crazy. It's gonna look a lot more normal when we get to good field spells in the next couple of streams, but right now, savor this. All right, I'll put it above. Put it right here. I think Ghost Trick is better than Chronomaly. Folks, here it is. Saz has been waiting for it all day. Noble Knights of the Round Table. During your end phase, you can activate each of these effects up to once per turn, depending on the total number of Noble Knight cards with different names in your graveyard and/or you control. 3 or more, send one Noble Knight card from your deck to the graveyard. 6 or more, special summon one Noble Knight monster from your hand. Then you can equip one Noble Arms equip spell from your hand to that monster. 9 or more, target one Noble Knight monster in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. 12, draw one card. I love that this card did not consider the possibility that there would be more Noble Knights than the original 12 Noble Knights. So if you have more than 12, you can't draw one card. So this card is just incredibly bad. It does literally nothing except during your end phase. And I don't think there's a single Noble Knight card you could send from your deck to the graveyard that would do anything relevant like immediately during your end phase. If you get 6 or more, you can special summon. There's one problem, which is this card is now a Garnet. Okay, so this card does do, right, I forgot this card is, it does stuff with the other one, right? Playing you, this allows you to E-tele the guy, okay. During your main phase, you can banish this card. If you do, place a Noble Knight from the round table. Then you can special summon an Artorigus monster or add a Noble Arms card from deck to grave. Okay. So if you play this card, the round table card, you can play this and use it to search a Noble. You can search a Durandal. That is correct. Okay. Excellent. Now that does like slightly improve how much this is, how important this is, but that does put it above the 200 attack guys, I think. It's a card that doesn't do anything on its own, but with a different bad card, you could use it to search the good card. I think that is enough to put it above like Iron Core Specimen Lab and Centrifugal Field and maybe Advanced Dark. I mean, that probably puts it a little higher than these. We haven't really had a field spell. I guess Sanctuary in the Sky is a card that is a Garnet, but it's a Garnet for a deck that does a lot more. It's a Garnet that does a lot more than just summoning, or than just getting to Durandal, a card that the deck can already search very easily. I think right above Realm of Light is Beyond Generous. I'll put it above it. I'll put it between Realm of Light and Advanced Dark then. It's in at number 69. Scrap Factory. All scrap monsters on the field gain 200 attack and defense. When a face-up scrap monster on the field is destroyed and by a card effect sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one scrap monster from your deck. You can only use this effect of Scrap Factory once per turn. This is a pretty, like, this card does combo and stuff. Being able to just summon a scrap from deck when the deck does what it's doing is good. Like, that's actually good. And also Scrap Factory is searchable by Wyvern, right? Is that it? Wyvern's the card that searches this? So like this is a combo piece. So this is for sure gonna be closer to the top for like, this is better than fucking Meckler Fortress for sure. I'd take this over Clear World. I'd probably take this over Amazonas Village too. Maz Sanctuary, Citadel. I want to say it's round Magical Citadel. I can't tell if I want to put it above or below it. Because like Endymion is definitely a better deck than Scrap, but Factory is doing more. Like Endymion is just kind of being a card again, but I'll put it here. I think this is going to be the last one for today. And we're ending off with a fucking banger. Sorceress Spell Wall. Yes, this card came out in 2014. This card came out in the same starter deck as the first Pendulum monsters. All monsters you control gain 300 attack during your turn only. All monsters you control gain 300 defense during your opponent's turn only. Were BAs out when this card came out? Jesse, I have fantastic news. They were still like 3 weeks away. They were still about one month away. So no. It's a 2014 card. Yep. Starter deck Space Time Showdown. Super Starter Space Time Showdown. Okay, so it's a 300 attack buff. And it's a 300 defense buff. So, I mean, okay, so it does go ahead of all of the 200 attack guys and probably below all the 500 attack things. It is all of your monsters, though. Is this better than Centrifugal Field or Advanced Dark? Maybe. It's probably not better than Noble Knights of the Round Table, though. And not your opponent's monster. That is also true. It is only your monsters. I think I'm going to put it in between Noble Knights of the Round Table and Advanced Dark. All right, folks. I believe that's 90 cards we got through today. Yeah, that's okay. That's not too bad. We got through 90 cards. So far, Dragon Ravine is the greatest card in Yu-Gi-Oh! History, and the worst card of all time is the Nordic Lights. But yeah, next time we will pick it up. I think this is a great place to pick it up because we'll be right back at Duelist Alliance. We've made it through all of DM, GX, 5Ds, and Zexal. All the field spells. What's the 69th best? Oh, that's important. No. Realm of Light is the 69th best card. Good for you, Realm of Light. Thank you so much for watching part 1. Make sure to like the video if you liked the video. Also, there will be at least 3 more parts of this series, so make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss the rest. Don't watch my old videos, though they're bad. I'll be recording the remaining parts of this series over at twitch.tv/EmperorStove. Also, I stream other stuff there 3 times a week, so follow me there. That's all for me. Have a wonderful day. See you next time.